Hey, and welcome back to the Wicked Wild Podcast, a feral podcast for the uncivilized horror fans. And this week we have the second movie in Jeff's recommendations. Unfortunately, he again was not able to meet with us this week. He's got a lot going on, but we're still going to celebrate his fantastic taste in the few horror movies he actually does like. And we're going to keep the spooky space stuff flowing this week. So before we do that, let me introduce you to those that have come out of the woodwork tonight to talk to us about Event Horizon, starting with John up in Michigan. How's it going, John?
Yo, yo, yo. Here we are again.
So let me ask you a question. So when Morpheus sacrifices his ship to save his crew, that was pretty cool, wasn't it?
I was trying to figure out who the Neo parallel could be in this film. I mean, it's got to be Noseworthy. Those ears alone makes him the one.
Yeah, and the name,
dude,
Noseworthy. Come on,
dude. Oh man, this movie. Oh, I love it. I unabashedly love it, and I got a fun story I can share about. Not my first, second, third, fourth, but probably think is like my fifth or sixth viewing. Is way more interesting.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Little teaser to set that up. And then we also have Jaime. How's it going, Jaime?
Hi, it's going all right.
So when Damien finally opens the gates to hell in order to fulfill his destiny, do you think he felt satisfied? As the Antichrist, that he finally got to open that Hell's Gate that he'd been looking for the last 20 years.
Yes.
That was an Omen reference. I got tickled that all of the people in this movie, including Jim Lovell's wife, who plays the medic in this, on a ship that is no longer operating, that's adrift in space.
Oh my God.
All these characters had done this before. It's pretty fantastic. So we are talking about Event Horizon, a movie, and I genuinely don't know where Jaime is on that. I'm looking forward to finding out, but I'm on the same link as John, as far as this is one that I have some really fond memories about. But before we get into that, we don't have Eli tonight, unfortunately, but we do have somebody who wanted to jump in and give us a little update from the horror news cycle in our weekly or our bi-weekly Wicked Whisper. Jaime, tell us what we got.
It's like, are we going to insert some little weird music?
We need some.
That's not like it's new, like Jaime music. Anyway,
I think so. I think we need some horns and some like explosions.
The only time I do this, but I do. Eli, I love you, but I'm going to keep it much shorter than Eli's. So this news
comes out possible
today. It's no secret at this point, guys. We're not you're not listening to this the day after we recorded. Okay, let's all accept that.
But we wanted to celebrate it.
Yes, the news just came to me. And I will give credit. News came to me via Mary, who you may remember her, who's graced this wonderful podcast.
An OG host.
Yes, she is. And she may also know Eli. I don't know. Maybe a little bit.
I don't know.
So anyway, she informed me today. Thank you, Mary. This is very important news. That Russ McKamey, for those of you that do or do not know in the horror community, he is infamous for running a torture house, in air quotes. That's how I'm going to put it. It's had documentaries at this point. Yeah, it is beyond extreme haunt, in which it is said that they torture you. You sign waivers. You get your head shaved. You get, I don't know, eat shit. I don't know. It's like absolutely ridiculous at this point. Some say it's true. Some say it's not true. Either way, most people have agreed by now that he is a complete psychopath and asshole of a shithead. And so it has come out today that he has been arrested for charges repeatedly assaulting, raping, and attempting to murder his girlfriend over a 3-day period. I am not celebrating that. I am celebrating that by one way or another, this man has finally been fucking arrested for something since he has deserved this for a long time.
We knew it was coming.
Yes.
And unfortunately for the victims, nobody is surprised by this news. No.
So, yeah. So for those that also don't know, there have been petitions over the years to get his house, in air quotes again, shut down. It just has not happened. Regardless of what goes down in this house being true or not, he is a not great human being, just based on how he treats people, what he seems to get joy of, which he has not even been ashamed to admit on camera. So apparently, too, from this haunted house is now going to get be probed by state by the state. So hopefully, maybe we'll find out more stuff there. But you know what? Good for everybody right now that Russ McKamey is being held in jail at some bail that hopefully he can't pay, and he's just going to fucking sit there.
And to your point, and probably by the time this recording comes out, because we're recording this one quite a bit up, because, little peek behind the curtain of the podcast, we're going to lose Jaime for the next month for the Olympics. So we're preloading a bunch of this stuff, and because y'all just, if she's back on after this, she's a champion. But anyway,
seriously,
my whole point was going to be is, that this is going to be a whole iceberg thing investigation that's going to happen over the next 6 months. So. I mean, once they start pulling out the videos and all of the footage that he's been hoarding for the last 10 years.
Yeah, the ones that he's proud of, he's proud of the shit.
It's going to be a complete shit show.
Yeah, and for those that and again, listen, as someone who's worked in television for a long time in her whole adult career, besides a brief stint in hairstyles, reality TV, documentaries, everything is slighted, everything's slanted, everything has an angle, everything is filmed very particular, things are edited, things are cut. Doesn't matter. The point is, the first documentary I ever saw this man in, which is actually very interesting. It was like Haunters or whatever on Netflix. It's about haunted houses. If you enjoy haunted houses, he just appears in it. It's not about him, but he appears in a section about extreme haunts. Now, if you watch that, there was in that alone, when this is before people were saying things about him and how bad it was. In that alone, when people were still praising that this is so cool, you have to sign a waiver, you got to do this. He literally says how he records everything. Then, I'm paraphrasing, but that at night he sits there and watches it alone. And that line alone, the way this man says this in this documentary, I just went something's not right with this man. He's talking about how he tortures whatever. And then he goes, and then I watch it. I play it back and I watch it for his own enjoyment. That alone, there we go. We're done. We're done.
You said the quiet part out loud there, my guy.
That was supposed to be in your head. So anyway, fuck you, Russ McKamey, and
creeps getting caught, all for it, all the time. And he's creep number one. He's got to be. Oh my gosh! I mean, and to Jamie's point, absolutely agree. We're not celebrating what he got away with or what he did to other people or the violence or the victims or any of that. We're celebrating that we knew he was this way. Nobody could catch him doing it. And finally, somebody had the courage to step up. So good for the girlfriend for putting an end to it. And you're saying that was just her allegations personally over the last, over a 3-week period? There were
3 day, it said. 3 day.
3 days.
When this occurred or whatever. But he's been, obviously, what we're saying, he's been doing this shit to some degree for years. So.
Wow.
Yeah. So, on that chipper note, we're going to review a movie from the 90s, a simpler time. But before we do that, we're going to do our traditional on the fly synopsis.
I'm
going to ask John the question because Eli's not here tonight.
I was going to say, we can just toss this over to Eli. I'm sure he'll come up with something.
Exactly. He's going to hate it either way. He's going to know that I am personally attacking him no matter what question or the answers. But it's a real simple one this time because it's obviously just me and Jaime. You'll know who's who probably.
Oh, no.
So what's your favorite spooky spaceship? Because we have a solid one here. The two options are the Tug Nostromo, classic.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one, and this will, I think Jaime will appreciate, the USG Ishimura.
Oh.
Mm.
So who's your favorite?
God, how can I not remember what the Ishimura is from? That sounds so familiar. What's it from?
It's Dead Space.
Oh, yeah. See, I know a game I never played.
Oh, my God.
Oh, really?
John, wait, stop. Hold up. Stop this recording. Because
pause John, for technical difficulties.
It is maybe the second best horror video game of all time.
Behind Silent Hill? Is that what you're thinking?
Silent Hill, and Resident Evil 2, or like so third. I don't know. It depends on what I feel like playing, but Dead Space is, and especially this.
And you're an Alien fan, John.
Yeah,
I am. However, the last game I attempted to play that was a horror game was Alien Isolation.
No, that doesn't. No.
And, oh my Lanta! Oh.
Dead Space is one of the most fun games you could possibly. It has maybe the best weapons I've ever had in a game. Like most fun weapons you could have.
A game has not properly scared or jump scared me since Resident Evil.
You have to play this.
This is like Doom on a ship kind of thing.
You have to play this.
Wow.
Well,
I heard the remake.
It's amazing.
It's brilliant.
Amazing. I played it 2.5 times already. Almost 3.
Wow.
What's that ship? I can't remember the name of that ship.
For what?
The derelict ship in the remake. Or was it back on Ishimura?
It's still Ishimura.
Okay. A very similar storyline to what we're talking about tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. It is.
I do remember that. I was like, I saw the movie. I don't need to play a game.
Anyway, so just pick the alien ship then, because you didn't play Dead Space. I'm Dead Space, I'm sure. So,
I'm gonna go with the Ishimura, Dave.
Ooh, plot twist. So, Jamie, tell us about Event Horizon.
Event Horizon, Dead Space, the movie. No, so
boom.
Basically, I'm gonna give you like 2 sentences on Event Horizon, but I'm letting you right now. Right, I'm going to spoil just to make it a 3-sentence synopsis.
Okay, 3 sentences. All right, we're counting.
30-year-old movie.
I'm sorry.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, don't count me. All right. Anyway, we have some rescue crew of some sort in space who is going out because there is a ship that disappeared about 7 years ago, has resurfaced. So
that's one little run on, but that's one.
They need to investigate this ship. They bring the creator of the ship. And while doing so, they open the portal to hell. Correct?
You got it. 2 run-ons, but you got it.
I think that's a description of this movie.
That is the movie. And the game.
And also, like Jamie sentences, this movie just kind of runs on.
It does.
At moments. Oh, man.
Fair enough. And because we just want to keep the hits rolling, and this is just Providence, because this is how they're listed in me. Jamie, you're just going to keep on your flow and give us your experience.
My God, today is
you're the star of the show today, Jamie.
Jeff doesn't show up, and Jamie just takes over.
Jamie takes over, grabs those reins, and says, "Get out of my way."
Okay. Interesting enough, Jamie. I'll get down talking in third person the whole time.
Nice.
I didn't see this until about 5 to 6 years ago. This is a guess. Okay. I know it was like pre-COVID, but I know it was like, because I know I was still in the office when I talked to someone about it. So this also came when a coworker of mine who also loves horror, he was like shocked that I hadn't seen it. And I said, I know, I did the whole I know, but I just haven't gotten around to it and just blah, 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 blah. And he's like, no, you like really need to see it. And it might've been like after a conversation about like The Void or something. I'm trying to remember.
Dead Space.
Yeah.
Maybe even after Dead Space. Doesn't really matter, but he was just shocked I couldn't see it. So I think that was like basically the pushing point to finally just like see this and watch it. Now, I watched it. I really liked it. I told him like, you were right, blah, blah, blah. I've watched it since then about maybe not fully every time, but like about, let's just say this is probably the 4th time or 5th time I've like watched it. So I don't remember if he said it. I said it when we were talking about it, that like, it's like a little bit of like, it is Dead Space, as you pointed out. It's a little like Hellraiser-y in space. It's a little like, it's like up my alley. It's funny. Listen, I still like it, but I want to say when we do movies that I like for this, unless it's something I watch like all the time, like when we do like Evil Dead 2013 or things that I picked from my block, basically, because I've seen them enough times. Whenever we rewatch something that I think I like for this, you watch it a little like differently, because now I'm taking, me, I'm taking notes. I'm doing
it's a critical eye,
and focus and whatever. Now, this movie doesn't deserve a critical eye, but at the same time, this movie is better as background movie. Mm-hmm. Because when you're sitting there, like the pacing's a little weird. I have comments about where this movie could be even better. Obviously, it's not like it's an Oscar worthy winning, but I'm just saying, like, when you're watching it with like a more critical, you're just like, fuck, why didn't they do this sooner? Or why didn't they do this? Like, but when like like when you're just watching it with things or in the background, or you already know it, so you're watching it, you're like, oh, this is a fun movie. It is a fun movie. You don't get me wrong. Is there a lot of substance to this movie? No, there's probably more substance in Dead Space as far as story goes than there is in this movie. We're just going to keep using Dead Space as a reference tonight. But to be fair, like, I mean, video games are dense now. I mean, even Dead Space is an older game, but even the remake, like, they're dense. It was a AAA. They have story, and Dead Space went on to be a trilogy. So, like, but
I mean, what year does this come out?
97.
97. It's the same year that Final Fantasy VII came out. It was a 3-disc game on PlayStation 1.
Yeah, so I'm just saying,
massive story.
So it's like you like this the story in this movie is like kind of less than a video game is what.
Way less.
But like, so I have things to say about like the pacing of the movie and things they could have done in the movie. I enjoy the movie. Is it like something like you should just be sitting there with a critical eye and watching? Probably like not. But it's a fun movie, and if you're into like space and sci-fi and a little body horror and like all that kind of stuff, it's right up your alley. Like, but I guess that's my 2 cents about this.
That's the high and low.
No Dead Space though.
It's no Dead Space. Fair enough. All right, John. You teased up on the top. Tell us your story.
But I will tell the story. But before I think Jamie's synopsis was very apt for this. She said 3 sentences, and as she was talking about it, I'm like, yeah, no, this movie is like literally a mile wide and like an eighth of an inch deep. It's very, very surfacey. However, I mean, the fact that Jamie saw this just a few years ago, I would never recommend this to anyone that has not seen this. I would not recommend it. If the only time and place this movie resides in that's acceptable because it's such a time capsule, it's literally from release date till probably 2000 January 1st. Like that's where it belongs, right there.
If you missed you missed it.
Yes, you're not gonna. It's like almost. There's so much subtlety to it that's like so 90s that is like is painful. But yes, I'll get to my story because this is going to be way more interesting and everyone's going to get a laugh out of it. All right, so I had been seeing. I went on I think 1 or 2 dates with this girl at this point. In the first date I went on, I had just gotten Bruce, so I actually brought him with me on the first date because she really wanted to hang out. So I was like, all right, fine. I'm warning you, it's going to be terrible. First date was not great. Went by Duck Pond. Bruce got really, really sick. I was in the ER vet appointment. So that was date 1. Yeah, it was bad. Bruce was very sick. It was a big mess. So anyways, somehow we got to date 2 or 3 and she ended up coming over and she's like, let's watch a movie. I'm like, okay, what do you want to watch? What are you in the mood for? She's like, well, what do you like? I'm like, I like everything. I like so many different types of movies. What are you in the mood for? And she goes, anything but something scary. I'm like, oh, that's too bad. I just got a couple good scary movies that just came out on Blu-ray, which I watched the same Blu-ray today.
Sweet.
Yes, I would, because I had just gotten, I was kind of excited. She's like, well, maybe since you're here, since we're together, we can watch something scary, I guess. And I'm like, okay. So I rattled
the magic words.
I said I rattled off a couple synopses of the movies, and I was like, is there any? She's like, well, which one is the scariest? And I was like, for me or for you? And I was like, okay, I think Event Horizon is probably going to creep you out the most. It's kind of cheesy, but it's going to make you probably skin crawl. So we ended up watching it. And I mean, she was like a Mexican jumping bean the whole damn movie. I mean, if there was a jump scare, she was going to fall for it. And it was, I mean, it wasn't a bad, there's a certain, I guess, what is it, amount of like enjoyment of watching someone watch a movie and react that like you get to a point where you reach a saturation point. I want to say probably about 2/3.
Unless you're McCamey.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. If you're that guy,
kink. I don't know.
Yeah. The jump scare kink is not my kink because I was like kind of like fed up and about 6 inches away from her by the end of the movie. And yeah, no, to say the face, that was like one of the last times I saw her. It
That's a story she's out in the world telling from her perspective.
Yeah, this freaking weirdo had me watch this movie, scared the living daylights out of me.
Never talk to him again.
No. I think we talked a couple times, but it was more whatever. But anyways, yeah. So at that point, I'd seen this movie a bunch of times because I want to say that was like, was it 2012? I'm looking at my dog right now. Like he's gonna remember, and I want to say it was. Yeah, I was like I think it was 2012 when that happened. It was like a little bit after I got first, but yeah. So I've seen this. This used to be an annual Halloween watch for me. It's something. It is something people would describe like a pig in shit. This is my shit, and I'm the pig. Like I will roll around in this thing all day because it is just so
of its time.
Oh, it's a time capsule. It's got some really like Nick Cage level cringe in here. I've always had a little bit of a crush of Stark since the 90s, so that works for me. You got your cheesy, terrible, over the top lines from your stereotypical African American man. And then we want to make sure we balance that African American man energy out with our steadfast leader, Laurence Fishburne, or Morpheus.
Yeah, get his name right. Come on,
or King of New York. Now, isn't that his title? Which we're not even getting started on movies. But anyways, yes, I've seen this a bunch. It's filled with characters. It has one of the probably best well lit demon orgies I've ever seen on film.
Yep.
I mean, that is another like hallmark of the 90s horror is everything is brightly lit and well detailed. It's just in space. It's kind of in this CGI, Dave, the CGI in this is awful.
Oh, I got notes on it.
Some of it is, it's, oh boy.
Oh, there's so many things. But all that being said, if you can just like roll around in this 90s, like I would say this is almost equivalent to like an 80s cheesy horror movie.
Yeah.
But actually they got A-list actors for it somehow.
Yeah.
Before I forget this, I did hear from multiple people over the years. The rumor was this was Hellraiser in space script that was never licensed for a Hellraiser character that they just took and made into event.
Wait, for real?
That's what I've heard.
Huh. I
can't tell you if it's true or not. That's the rumor that I have heard over the years, countless times, that this was the original Hellraiser, the legendary, like mythical Hellraiser in space script.
But it works for that, for sure.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And actually, I would say this is one movie from the 90s, like anything. I say remake this and you could make something awesome.
Yeah, punch it up.
Oh, man. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, this is not a sacred property. You could redo this one.
I would say don't even use the title. Just take the premises and make a new movie.
Just strip it down to its concept.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what they did to Hellraiser.
Yeah,
and just put it in space. But anyways, Dave, tell us about when you saw this. Tell us about what the massive impact it's had on your life.
Well, and this is well established on the podcast, I am old enough that I did see this in theaters. And it didn't have a huge marketing push, but I saw enough of trailers back then that I saw what I wanted to see. Like it looked intriguing enough. I'm a big sci-fi nerd, Star Trek, Star Wars, anything that happens in space, anything that's science adjacent in movies, I'm all for. But I saw this and I was immediately a fan. Like even to your point, there's those opening scenes of the corridor and the CGI stuff floating around. I have a distinct memory of going, man, that looks so real.
Well, so that opening
scene
is why does everything look 3D in this? This was never in 3D, right?
No.
Did someone make this in 3D?
Yeah, no. I think there was an intention. To your point, I think because there's a lot of stuff coming out.
Oh, yeah.
So much. But you just mentioned that opening. And from the moment this movie opens, I said to myself, what were we doing in 97? Was there 3D?
Yeah.
It's like
I could see them like talking like in the background though, like going,
what
hey,
if
what we could like, why don't we,
anyway,
like proof of concept, they could have filmed this movie in a 3D and they're like, not good enough.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
I just wanted because he literally
you're
brought
right.
one scene where it like it opens floating at you, and I'm just like, were they doing this in 3D? Like, I know 3D existed, but what I meant was like, was this a height of trying to do things in 3D? But I couldn't remember it being that. So, sorry,
and even if it wasn't well established on the podcast as well, anytime I see that kind of stuff, my 3D giddiness does punch up a little bit.
Same. So.
It was computer 3D. That's the 3D they were playing with at the time. But you're right. I mean, they could probably take the originals and make this into a 3D pretty easily because it's shot that way, to your point. Because I think they had to do a lot of locked or camera locks to do all the CGI stuff back then. They couldn't track and do CGI. So you could probably transition this into 3D pretty easy. But anyway, this movie to me, and this is the way I wrote the note, this movie is a Reese's cup. I mean, it is literally a gothic haunted house 100%, while at the same time being a body horror science fiction 100%. It's both things. It's, if I had to explain it, just think of, The Thing just had a nasty breakup with its girlfriend. It's feeling down. It's feeling frustrated. It goes to a house party, and through the night, it kind of gets loosened up, has a few drinks, notices The Shining sitting in the corner, the unassuming, quiet, soft-spoken The Shining sitting in the corner, and gets intrigued. And, as they say, things get saucy, and a child is born unto them. And that child is Event Horizon.
Oh, wow.
It is The Thing and it is The Shining all kind of meshed together. It's fantastic. I love this movie. The cast, to your point, John, perfect. It's funny to look back and cringe in the CGI, but genuinely, I have this heavy layer of nostalgia when I see that CGI. And I will defend that the CGI in this is still better than 10 years later, the Mist CGI. Like the stuff that I saw in this.
Yes.
For what it was, it's still friggin' impressive to the point. And, we just did this with Eli's block. I think the visual design and visual effects in this are heads and shoulders better than they were in Congo, which had a whole heck of a lot more money.
Oh my God.
But this one actually has better design in it too. And yes, the science gets kind of hand wavy, but all of these science fiction movies get kind of hand wavy. But I thought it was an amazing concept. I'd never seen anything done like that before because, Alien was the haunted house in space. I mean, that's what the original Alien was. This is that plus the Hellraiser in space, to your point, John. It's kind of both of those things at the same time. So I love the concept. I love the idea of science gone wrong, which is kind of relevant. If you listen to the Wicked Whispers, where scientists think that they're smart enough to do things without thinking them completely through. I love that when science goes back, even to
Jurassic Park,
like The Blob or Jurassic Park or any of those kind of things.
Any Michael Crichton novel.
Exactly. I think Sam Neill makes a fantastic cocky scientist. He's perfectly cast as that role. I love how that role is used in this movie. I mean, there is sort of a class narrative going on, obviously, because you have him and then you have this search and rescue crew that are obviously, some of them are ex-military. They're all blue collar, heavily experienced leather people. And then you've got this scientist who's talking down to them at first. And then he says, Laurence Fishburne tells him, just get to the point. We don't need to hear all of this stuff. But then I realized it's literally the exact same thing as Alien, the original Alien. I mean, Dr. Ware is Bishop. I mean, they are the same character. Like that they have ulterior motives for what they're doing, and that they think they're going to outsmart everybody else. So he really has that same kind of cocky, arrogant personality of the way he's doing things, which I love. And I think everybody else knows that about him, like immediately. Like even if you think back on Alien, which we've talked about and reviewed, everybody knows they don't like Bishop, even if they don't know why they don't like Bishop. They know they don't like him because he's smarter than them, but they also know that because he's smarter than him, he may do some stupid stuff, which is what Ripley kind of calls him out on, right? And that's kind of where Ware lands for me. So many movie homages are in here. Like I said, the alien crew meeting scene, when he does the explanation of the technology, that's almost block for block the alien crew conversation of what do we do now? Then you have the shining blood wave, literally block for block, the wave of blood coming at the camera from The Shining. You have the Hellraiser torture and puzzle box, that whole portal technology, that portal room, that's a puzzle box. That's all it is, always moving and changing shape and all that. And then you have the poltergeist portal and rope bit. I mean, there's so many things in here that are from other movies that I love, and I'm not mad at it for doing it either. I think it's all well executed and nice little winks that if you're in the horror community, you see those things, you know what they're doing. They're not overdone, and they're to the point we made last year was Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse. There was a lot of homages or in that one that were just kind of chunked in. This one at least has purpose in the story that they're telling.
I want to the flayed guy too. Anytime someone does it, reminds me of Silence of the Lambs, and especially because of this one, it's got the light behind him too.
Yep, absolutely, in silhouette. Yep.
The one I was waiting for you to go through your list, Dave, because there was one. I'm like, I wonder if anybody else heard this one. When they open one of the doors, they use the Doom door open sound.
Oh, really?
I didn't even know.
Yeah, and I heard. I don't remember hearing that before. I'm like, what?
Like it's literally the exact same soundbite.
I mean,
fantastic.
If you know what you're listening for, you can find it. They mask it a little bit where it sounds like it sounds less video gamey, but it's the same sound.
Yeah. Well, and that was pretty much my main notes, and we can have conversation. This movie is just fun to me. I do watch it. I don't watch it every year, but I do watch it on a pretty regular basis because I'm still surprised. Yes, the effects have aged, and some of the concepts are, some of the dialogue is aged, but so much of this movie still works 30 years later that I still have a blast watching it. And half of that is the nostalgia of being there when it happened and that experience. But half of it is just because I enjoy the story. I think the concept is still unique. This has been done a few other times, but I think this is a great execution of it. Like and I've talked about it before. I don't know if y'all have seen the movie Sunshine. There's a lot of this concept in that movie too. But anyway, I got to kick out of the opening cards that reference the dates. I don't know if y'all saw that and got a chuckle out of it.
Oh my gosh. How many dates do we need?
Yeah.
No, but we're also like, I always love when a movie, any future movie where we've already passed most of the dates. So,
talking about living on the moon in 2015.
Like 2025. Yeah, when 2015, then I went to 2020 something. And then I was like, then the next one that I thought they were going to stop at was 2040 something. I'm like, well, we're almost there also, basically. Yeah. But I think they went one more. I think, but I'm not even sure.
2047.
Now. They might have just said now. I don't remember. Or
now in 3
2040 periods. Is when the Event Horizon launched, right? And
so 2047 is okay.
Yeah,
we're not.
They couldn't just say 7 years later.
No.
They had to go.
No,
2047.
Yeah,
it has a 2 in the front of it. It's so far away.
Whoa! There were so many moments tonight that I literally was just like, I was having like the 90s surfer dude reaction, because that was like, you could tell that was the moment. And there was always that guy, like when they did the crazy camera and they're spinning around and backing away from that erector set space station, whatever the hell it was. You could tell there's always going to be that dude in the back. Whoa, it's like spinning and he's not upside down. It's crazy.
I do love that Paul Anderson did sort of the Ridley Scott space where everything is recognizable. Like even like to your point, the space station is not like this perfectly architectured Star Trek structure. It's just a bigger version of the International Space Station.
Yeah,
so it's very recognizable. All right, so let's get into some conversation. And because Jaime had to carry our ass through the first half of this episode, we're going to let John start us off. What do you want to talk about? What do you want to get into?
Dude, I want to talk about this ship and the character of the ship. But first questions first. Who was the designer of this ship, and why does every rocket ship have to look like a man's rocket ship? I mean, good grief. It is a gigantic schlong in space with some crazy weird dude, the ship. But my favorite part, like that kind of like, there's always that douche in college that would do stuff just cause. Got the tattoo on the end of his schlong of his name and then had lights put on it. Not literal, Jamie. I'm talking about the ship. They put its name on the front end, like the head of the ship.
Oh, did they? I didn't even.
Yeah, facing out into the oblivion. Nobody's ever going to see that sign.
No one. But it's like that guy who just does. Jamie, it's like some of your silly tattoos. It's like some dude in school's like, I'm going to put my name on my head.
My girlfriend's
my other head. It's so bad. There's just so many weird little nods that are just like done for style and like the attempt of the rule of cool. And it's like, dude, you can't stack the rule of cool this many times. It's just like, it's cool, but like everything can't be that cool because then nothing's cool.
It's too much cool.
Too much cool. But at the same time, I still ate it like a Saturday morning bowl of cereal. But my I guess my topic would be is just like what 90s crazy ostentatious things didn't make any sense, but yet were present in this supposedly serious movie.
We still loved it.
Oh, I ate it up.
3D, all the 3D, everything was in 3D. So the opening scene was in 3D. When they touched that, the black goo shit was in 3D.
Oh,
the blood
that was a good one.
3D. Anything to do with liquid was in 3D. I'm sure that sphere numerous times.
The eye blood was in 3D.
The eye blood was it? Yep, the eye blood was in 3D. Probably even when Baby Bear was squeezing out, he was in 3D.
Squeezing out Baby Bear.
Like everything in this movie. Like someone please take this and remaster in 3D because it deserves to be.
And once
they do, and Dave, once they do, this goes number 3 on my list of movies I've regretted not seeing in 3D because like I just like it. This deserves to be in 3D. Like I don't. It's definitely made that way. Like I don't understand.
Agreed. And like I said, I think it would be, and me and my absolute ignorance of how 3D technology actually works. But as a movie goes, because it was locked off to do all the CGI stuff, I would think it'd be a pretty easy transfer compared to other things. That's just
I don't know, but someone should try it because
exactly. Maybe that's our $1 million idea. Maybe we get
Event Horizon in 3D.
In ours, event starts with a 3 instead of an E.
It has to. Yeah. Oh my! I know how much you love that. So you know. My
favorite thing in the world.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So John, the one that stood out to me this last time, and I've noticed it before, but this time it tickled my insides, is when, the captain says, check the ship's logs. And she goes, okay. She goes over and pulls a DVD out of the computer. And I'm like, I miss the 90s.
Oh, yeah.
Physical media. Like she literally was pulling the DVD out. And I'm like, wow, it's been 20 years since we had
that.
But that was ultra futuristic.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, Dave. Oh, I had to look this up because I don't know how you guys watch this. I didn't stream it. I had the Blu-ray. I watched the actual Blu-ray. And that thing was absolutely one of the more hideous physical medias. It was one of those Blu-rays. They literally took the DVD and tried to up-res it. And I mean, each grain. And I mean, just for reference, I know not everybody has a large television that they watch this stuff on, but I was having a rough year, guys. Okay. I went a little bit above and beyond. I got a 75-inch television for my room where Jamie's been here. She knows that TV it borders on the line of being too big. However,
first of all, the rule is no TV is ever too big. Unless you're literally in a closet where it like does not fit. But like,
okay, I like your rule.
Me with TVs, unless you're sitting right in front of it, like unless where I am to my computer screen right now, and you put a 75-inch in front of me, other's there's almost never too big.
As long as you don't have to turn your head, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it always could be bigger. That's what she said, and that's how TVs go.
I was gonna say, I mean, any guy that's listening to this now, I think you can clip this part of the podcast out, and when your significant other goes, TV's too big, you just put up your finger and you go, hold on, please. And you bring it out. I go, I want you to listen to my friend Jamie, and she'll set her straight. And then you can send Jamie the check in the mail.
Let me present
Always.
you with Exhibit A.
Yes.
Yeah.
So because of my larger television screen and my shitty Blu-ray, every square grain, which don't get me wrong, I love a good grainy movie where the transfer is real crispy, real like you get that, you can like chew on it. Like you can taste the era.
This was on film at some point.
Yes. You can physically touch it. Yeah. That's really great. However, this is like way too bad. Like this is like somebody took a VHS, converted it to DVD, and then tried to convert it to Blu-ray. It barely works. It's a bad move. So I just looked up, and for anybody out there that is an aficionado or a collector, it is on 4K disc. You can get it. It's available in 4K for streaming, so you can see what the transfer is. And I quickly glanced at the reviews. Lots of 8s out of 10, which is pretty good.
Yep.
And it's on sale for $18.20.
Is it worth $18?
Go scoop it.
My fingers are kind of itchy.
It is, if you're cheap like me, it is also available in UHD on Prime right now.
There you go. There you go.
I watched it on like my iMac or whatever while like having my work computer because as we know, I'm going into what can only be described as this movie for work.
The dead zone.
Jamie's heading into her own event horizon.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so appropriate. I'm sorry, Jamie. What a
movie to send me on my way, right?
Yeah. Have fun at the Olympics. Love you.
Wait, are we still talking 90s stuff? Because
go for it. Yeah, go.
No, I'm not talking about 90s stuff.
Oh, no, go.
But I just, because like something that bothers me watching this movie a little more critical. Again, critical means with a notebook and a pen in my hand, just in case, like have to jot things out. Is that we talk like I mentioned like the pace. Is that I guess I don't even want to call it pacing. That's not what I want to call it. It's paced fine. It's not a long movie. It's not like it.
It's $1:30.
Yeah, so that we know how we all feel about that. That's great. But like for something where the plot is so part of the plot, if anybody has not seen it and is listening to this for some reason, is like it's like their fears and they're seeing things like that they're afraid of, concerned about, have dealt with in the past, like all this kind of stuff. It's not in it enough. Like not nearly enough. For the cast that's the size, I want to see every single person's fear flushed out into some degree. Maybe not everyone flushed out, but I want to see everybody experience like a fear. I want more of that like haunted house feel. Like I want more of these stupid jump scares for the 90s. I want more of these horror elements. Like, he does the whole where he flashes and shows them being like tortured in hell and stuff. Like, hey, I want that. We know me. I wanted that. Yeah. I want a scene of that. I don't want fucking flash. I don't want my fucking jumpy, like just cut, super cut of like things. But also like these quote unquote fears and stuff. Like they could have played with this a lot more and like a lot better. And I think when I watch it more like this, it's like, I don't even need them fixing the ship. Let's cut out some of this nonsense spaceship shit that you get. And again, that's just because I'm not a super sci-fi, like whatever, but like, and put more of this, my fears are being, used against me and all and just any kind of horror and gore. Like, I feel like the scenes of it, while they're good, there could be so much more of them in there. Like, I mean, even when we get like Fishburne, like, that's his last name, right? Laurence.
Yep.
His like little explanation of his fear. Like, I don't need the explanation of it. Just have given me more little exposition of it. And I could have figured this out.
And then context clues you. Yeah.
Yeah. It's really not hard. I know movies sometimes think their audience is dumb, but instead of even seeing it that much, we just get, and not only that, we get the explanation before we get his fear. It's very weird in this movie. Like he hears it, but like we don't see it presented to him visually till later in the movie, but we know what it is because he's already told us what his fear, like what he's dealt with. I don't know. I just like, all of that could have been used better and so much cooler. Like, I just think it could have been done more and better because while I like it, I would have liked a lot more of it. Like, well, when you see a lot of it is the kid, right? Like that's the one you see the most.
Mama bears.
Yeah. And that's fine. Yeah. But more people should have gotten that. Like her whole chasing him, getting her and like even seeing him earlier because he pops up earlier too. Nobody else gets like numerous encounters or just like, they all just kind of like, done. See something done or whatever. Like, I don't know.
I mean, hopefully somebody's writing Saw in space and then that will get thrown on the ground and somebody will pick it up and do Event Horizon 2.
And
it'll make sure to include everybody, how they all have to survive.
Well, and that's literally the second question I had, Jamie, is, why do they invest so much of this movie in showing us each person's trauma because they don't really use it to effect. Like,
No.
we know that these people are broken, they're damaged goods, but they don't tell us what the ship or hell or whatever the influence is, how it's using that trauma to impact them. Like even with Captain Miller, Laurence Fishburne, we know he had to make this really horrible decision in his past, and that there was this thing that he did that he swore he would never do again. But the ship doesn't use it to really manipulate him into making a bad decision like it does with Mama Bear. Like Mama Bear's kind of goes full circle. Like the kid is the reason she dies. And oh my gosh, to John, who loves a good, multi-fracture, that was a brutal fall. I mean,
she has a
Oh yeah,
he has the best death in the movie.
But the best part of that death isn't when the fall happens. It's the scene, the cut after she initially falls,
when she hits
and then you see this thing fall and you're like, oh, that's a dummy.
Oh.
And then it literally hits the wall and like flies.
Yeah, so they say that part where she smacks first. I always love a good fall where they hit first something and it's just like, oh fuck, and then they
she hits every stair on the way down.
Like, let's see how this Plinko chip goes.
But like the guy, so like naturally, because I'm me, although it could be my favorite. I guess my favorite, like, can't even call it a scene. Visual is like the guy ripped open on his chest, and then like the Silence of the Lambs scene. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Now I'm trying to remember, even though I just watched this today, but I was like, but do we even get his anything? Like, why does he even get operate? What? He's not even a victim of the ship. He's a victim of.
Well, we know of course, the joke is he's the trauma guy. So he's the EMT, which I was interested in. They have a medical doctor who's Mama Bear, and then they have an EMT. And then you think about their search and rescue. That makes perfect sense. Like that logic works, but he's always like, he's got a scalpel or a saw. He's like, even when he's angsty, when he's turning on Ware, he's a very blade oriented guy. But then when Demon Ware, like tears his uniform open, he is cut from his collarbone to his navel. So he's had some brutal surgery. So I think that's the only glimpse we get to. That's the thing that
I want more.
Exactly. Well, and to that point, because I did look this up because I felt the exact same way. I found out in an article that the director, his original cut was over 2 hours.
Oh wow! And
it was so violent and that test audiences and the studio just rejected it outright. Like he had to cut 30 minutes out of this movie. So I believe that's exactly what you're talking about. Like we got these deep dives into the hell for each of these people. Only exists, and again, this is one of those like legends at this point. Nobody can really prove it, but he got reached out to one of his production assistants who said they still had the 2 hour cut on VHS, the only place that it actually existed.
God.
Oh, I do remember hearing about this.
We need 2 hours and it in 3 days. Like we need to find Event Horizon in the 2 hour.
You don't want
ultra violent cut.
You don't want this version, Jamie. Because they're gonna. I
absolutely do.
No, because they're gonna transfer it from that VHS copy,
a 30-year-old VHS.
But the thing is, like, to what Dave said too, I was like, but like this guy goes from like from existing, seeing this scar to being ripped open. When I say to being to, like, you don't see anything. He's just he's just hanging up like Silence of the Lambs, which is what happens in Silence of the Lambs. But Silence of the Lambs is not an ultra violent movie. Like it's not this movie. So in Silence of the Lambs, you're not going to see that. You're going to see the aftermath. In this movie, I'm like, why? Why is this happening to this? We know Weir. How do you say his last name? We know he's like bad at this point. We know what's going on here, but it's just like, I don't know.
It has no gravitas, has no emotional like tragedy of what happened to him.
Yeah.
No.
I think to Dave's point, it probably had something to do with the blade.
Yeah.
I didn't really notice it, but I've seen this so many times. I'll be honest, I don't watch it nearly as close as I did years and years ago.
But can you imagine a 2 hour cut of full violence of this?
Yes, and I'm giddy just thinking of it.
I mean, I can, but that was like the first thing I said to myself. I was like, I haven't seen this while. I'm like, I hope this is not a 2 hour movie. And I was like, 95 minutes. And it's like, it's not. But to Jamie's point, I think there's a happy medium ground. I think there's some dead weight you can cut off this thing in existence and add in the gore and the story and the narrative to this. But I really just want some crazy, I don't know, who would be a good director. So some crazy guy who's never done horror or something, say like a Jordan Peele, but somebody new, take this movie on.
Not Jim Halpert.
No, not Jim Halpert. No. Are you talking about If?
Yeah.
Or you
that's why then this story, everything about this movie, while we all like it and some of us more now, I'm just saying like why it doesn't hold the weight, because a half hour of it is on a cutting room floor.
Yeah.
Whether it's even story, whether it's science, whether it's expanding any of these points. That's a lot of movie. That's why this plot is thinner than Dead Space.
Yeah.
Because maybe it's the same plot as, maybe it's as dense as Dead Space, but it's all sitting, instead of it being an X
on a VHS
hour.
tape.
Yeah, instead of it being like however many hours of video game play where you can put a story in while you're playing and get whatever. It's an hour and a half movie and you lost all that. But
I'm sure part of that half hour is the montage of them trying to science their way out of hell or something. I mean, I'm sure there's like where they try to
need that. I don't care about that. But
me, I'm like, I want to know how, like, if you're really going to just describe this as a gravity engine, like ripping. I mean, his description was the most, I don't know. It was, and it's probably at the time it was like, whoa! It was one of those moments, but like now,
the paper illustration.
Yeah,
I love that illustration. It's one of my favorites.
What was her name? He was upset about Vanessa, Veronica. I don't know. I think it's a V name, but yeah, no. That my favorite description or science moment is when they describe a black hole in Interstellar, and that's exactly what this was like, a cheap Dollar Tree version of the Interstellar.
Well, and that's the funny thing is, in the early 90s, that was probably as far as that physics had gotten, as far as conceptually understanding.
Probably they were more concerned with the audience that was going to see this movie. Yeah. Like, guys, don't make this too fucking hard so they can figure this shit out. Okay.
Exactly. The ship's haunted. Let's just get there.
And to be fair, that's all I want. I don't want, if the more sciencey and complicated it gets, I'm just like, what? Just give me, okay. He's evil. He's got no eyes now. Got Great. It. Okay, cool. Yeah. Hell was just said. Got it. I know what we're doing.
Okay. So no visual representations of the fifth dimension. No black holes or
take the
time
piece of paper,
dilation.
Fold it in half, punch a hole.
I'm with you. Nailed it.
I got it.
Well, and that that brings up one of my questions, because I am curious, because Jamie, you're right. I know that's not something that you really get into, but I do want to know from each of you, what is a quote unquote science-based horror movie that you really do like one that really has landed for you. And science-based is in quotes, obviously, all of it's kind of fantasy, but one that at least tries to explain its existence or whatever the plot mechanic is for it. Because I love that subgenre. But
yeah, so give me some of them so I can just pick one. Give me a multiple choice. Do we not know by now that Jamie is not good at essay questions? Yeah. She's good at multiple choice questions. Let's think.
No, because I'm trying to think of some movies.
Here's the problem, though. Even if I love a movie, I tend to fade out when the science is explained. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, even if they explain it to me, I just go, Now put the xenomorph back on the screen. Okay. Cool.
Jamie was a really big chemistry student.
Oh my God. I had to get tutored in chemistry because in high school, I had to take AP Chem. And I was like almost failing out of it because even as a geek,
you took AP Chemistry
in high school. Yeah.
Wow.
Jamie's wicked smart.
She's wicked smart.
But, me and all my closest friends who I'm still friends with now, we had a joint tutor for all of us.
If I was the tutor, depending on the ability to uptake information, if they were in an AP class, I would tell me you need to find a new class. This isn't for you.
Yeah, we were forced.
All right. So
that's different. But anyways, go ahead, Dave.
I was just going to say, I've got a list for you.
It wasn't by choice. Neither was Latin, John.
And these might not be the ones you would pick, but this gets the ball rolling as far as, obviously Alien, science-based movie. The Thing, science-based movie.
I was going to say that too.
The Fly, which is a science-based horror movie. Right. The Mist, Signs, Cloverfield, let's see, Predator, I'm trying to think of ones that aren't necessarily
Predator
space science
What
movies.
science do they use in
Yeah, and like
Predator?
Cloverfield doesn't have any
Jaws
explanation,
is a
right?
science-based horror movie. What?
All right, now we're getting like, okay, Jaws then. Jaws is my favorite science. No, because I know what Dave was asking. Some of these I don't think fall into that.
Would fall into that?
Yeah, just because I understand what you're saying, like things
Yeah.
that explain, like I love Jaws to death, and I get that it's about marine
Resident
biology and whatever, but is it a science-based? Nothing in there is based on like
It's fantastical at all. It's just a big shark.
I don't know. Hooper uses some science-based instrumentation to find Jaws or find stuff. So I think science was used. There might have been a little bit more bro science with Quint on the boat.
Well, that's my favorite science-based movie.
See, there you go. See, so you want the bro science ones.
Did you all
Piranha
see?
3D, does that count as science?
There you go.
Sure.
Some bro science in that one.
I know we talked about Splice. That would be another one. Did y'all see Possession?
No.
Possession.
Possession's good. The Endless, that was an indie one.
Ooh, I like that.
Splice is the rapey one, right?
Yeah.
That I hate. Okay.
The father and the daughter getting it's not
Then
great.
the daughter, spoiler alert, everybody. Then the daughter tries to rape the mom. Yes.
Yeah. Annihilation. That's one that
I've never watched it, but I've heard. Yeah,
man.
See,
put that on the list.
That would be science. It probably is on our list.
It is on the list.
It just hasn't been picked yet.
Oh man, that is a good one.
Any of those or any science movies? Did that trigger anything?
Jaws. Done.
Jaws is done.
Alien.
As soon as I said that, I knew I'd given the answer. But it is science based because even throughout that movie, there are these dissertations or these expositions where Brody or what's the main character's name?
Hooper? What are we talking about?
Yeah, Hooper.
Wait, what are we doing?
Yeah, where they talk about sharks. It's all trying to behavioral and science and all that stuff.
I just thought of one too. And like, again, now this science, when it's explained in the movie, might be shitty. So to my point, but like Resident Evil is science-based.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm not using
and
the video
pretty
game
close
right now.
to home.
I'm using like the first movie, which I still enjoy. I like that first.
The first movie is fun.
It has nothing to do with the game, but I liked it as a movie. But that's science based. I like that one. I'm okay with the way they explain shit in that one. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, they didn't have to get into the weeds with it.
They didn't. And like,
we all understand if people are engineering the deadliest virus on the world and that gets out, it's not going to be good.
Yeah.
That's
I'm going to pick that one. I thought of that all on my own. That was
done and done. What about you, John?
I mean, I know Eli doesn't like words being put in his mouth, but I'm going to put words in his mouth. And I think he would be picking the Blair Witch Project. This is his favorite science-based movie.
Yeah, it's all science.
That or,
how are you not picking The Thing? How are none of you picking?
No, please hold on. I'm picking stuff for Eli. I'm thinking Antlers. This is
very science-based. Yep.
Very science-based.
Get some of the research.
No, I mean, honestly, I had one and now I can't even think of it anymore because Dave said Annihilation. I'm like, oh man, that is my jam. That is like science and horror and eldritch, like unknown horror. That shit scares the shit out of me.
It's all the things.
Yeah, it's all the things that scare me. Oh yeah, and people just don't come out, and if they do, they're all messed up. It's like, okay. Awesome. Now my mind's going to take that and go to where it's really weird.
I'm not going to sleep well for a while.
No. How about you, Dave? I mean, we took care of Eli. I want to make sure everybody gets their voice in.
Well, the one that I was going to pick, to be totally honest, was going to be Annihilation because that's one I love. But to Jamie's point, the whole concept of even whether it's Andromeda Strain or The Thing or any of those movies to where we think a little gray alien's going to come attack us when it actually is this engineered biologic, almost kind of like the new Alien movies are, gets to Earth and then just wrecks us because we can't tell it's there. We have no stop for it. So I'm going to go to The Thing, but just because the way that movie ends is so satisfyingly unsatisfying.
Yeah, very nihilistic.
In the snow, looking at each other and going, either way, we're going to die, but we'll see if the rest of the planet dies too.
Oh, yeah, it's pretty messed up, man.
But those kind of philosophical / science stuff, yum. Reese's. So I only have one other question that I've got listed here. I've got some fun things in here. To the point of the thing, I thought it was interesting.
Okay.
This director, Paul W.S. Anderson, he also did another movie called Soldier with Kurt Russell. I
remember that.
Yeah, he showed Kurt Russell an early viewing of this, and Kurt's quote, which I love Kurt Russell. I just love how matter of fact he is. Like, he's just a guy. He's not pretentious Hollywood.
He's a dude, man.
Yeah, but he told the director, he said, you should not worry about how well this movie is going to do in theaters, because this will be the movie that you are going to be most happy you did in the long run. Like, this is going to be a movie that you're going to be proud of no matter what it does in theaters. And unfortunately, his expectations came true, because this movie was a flop in the theaters. Like,
it was terrible. Yeah.
Which blows my mind. But again, for 97, this was probably a lot. Like, this was asking a lot of. It
is. It's a weird 90s movie.
It's not Scream. So
no. He was probably a couple years too early, because I think if this sort of came out closer to The Matrix, I think pop culture was a little bit closer to that industrial kind of vibe that this was. Because
still so horror-y, though, you think? Like, I don't.
Yeah. I mean, but I guess I just look at it from pop culture, like people like taking things up. I just remember, like, I didn't see this until like a year after it came out, because of just how long it took for it to go home. Like,
I didn't see it until a few years ago, but
I
forgot I forgot that the movie I just picked is same director, Resident Evil.
Mm-hmm.
He did Event Horizon, so.
Oh yeah, no, he's got his lane. He sticks to it for
Resident
sure.
Evil, he sticks to that lane. That's
constant. There was one, I don't know which one it was, but
they're terrible. The first one is the only one I like.
Well, the first one I like, but
I've seen I think all of them.
I went to the theaters and I cannot remember. It was like the whole world was zombies, and it was just so over the top and crazy.
Post-apocalyptic one. That's like either. It's earlier than you think. It's either like 3 or 4. I don't know. I was going to the movies for all of them, and then I was just like, I can't do this anymore.
I
like
laughed
4 or 5 or something. I don't remember.
Ass off in theaters. That movie was so ridiculous.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. They're bad.
It was bad, but almost kind of fun.
No, yeah, but they're not. They are not.
Yeah, there's no art.
I do like the first one though.
I think he's probably a little like him and Zach. What's his face? Who did the stupid Justice League movie?
Snyder?
Zack Snyder. Oh, they need to make a movie
together.
Yeah.
No.
We need more Rebel Moon.
Yeah, right.
Speaking of that, and as we're killing time, Dave's a little way, so you're just stuck with the feral children right now, everyone.
I don't know what happened. That's fine. He'll just edit out whatever.
Yeah, he'll either edit it out or he won't.
Isn't intriguing enough. I think I've seen all the Resident Evils at this point.
I have not.
I have. I think,
but the ones I have enjoyed. I hope Dave's okay.
He just like disappeared.
This is going to be the best part of the show. Everybody's going to constantly rewind. Oh, there he is. He just magically appeared. Dave's a ghost.
Apparently, John and I are not good enough at banter to keep going for how long.
No, I don't know. Actually, I think it's the exit. When the host exits, like the whole thing kind of falls off the rails a little bit. Like,
yeah, okay. I was trying to slip out and slip back. I had to.
Yeah, I need Dave as the train tracks.
I need to give you the sign before I jump out from it.
No, I know you don't. We
went
knew
on a
you jumped
Resident
out.
Evil tangent barely, and then.
No, it's going to be good. Dave's going to love it. Other Dave, listener Dave's going to love this.
He's going to love the
moment of.
He's going to love the awkward silence where Jamie and I are both like, "Yeah, when's Dave going to come back?"
John and I don't talk. It's one of those situations. It's like, when there's like a group of. It's like the episode of Seinfeld where Jerry leaves Elaine together for the first time, and they talk about him not throwing up again. Though she goes, we already talked about that or whatever. Or did you ever see him throw up? It's like we already talked about
that. That's very, very accurate. So it'll be fun, Dave. It's a little Easter egg for you. You can listen back.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. I would personally just leave it in and torture, again, the 10 people that might download this.
To be honest with you, I had a sneezing fit, and I had to get,
I'm
my
sorry,
allergies have been wrecked here lately,
That
and then I had to
sucks,
go
yeah.
to the restroom. So sorry.
I
right.
live.
We'll
remember. So, anyways, let's put this thing back on the tracks here. So, what else do we think about this movie, or are we good?
I'll just say this. You know,
I'm good.
I loved, and I know I've talked about it before, but I love small casts, and I love casts like this that like this cast you could tell was like set in a British theatrical troupe. Like you have aliens type characters in this movie because it's the same kind of casting pool that they're pulling from. But those guys that are in this, and I'm thinking specifically of Smith, and you know, you got Baby Bear, Justin, and then DJ. All three of them have this kind of you can tell that they've been working together. Like they have this energy of the way that they deal with each other, and I love when that comes across. I think specifically of the two roughnecks in Alien, whose names I can't think of right now, but their chemistry felt so organic and natural. I get so much of that from this crew too, of like, you just legitimately feel like these people have lived together for the last 10 years. They know each other.
Yeah.
It's going to kill me. Damn it, Dave.
I know.
Well, you can Google that while I say, like, I did want, because I know we're like, we like this movie. There's not a lot to discuss because, like I said, I think a lot of it's left on the cutting room floor. Like, I think we like, you know, there's not, it's cool. It's got some cool visuals. It's got some cool stuff in it. But like, but I want to say the stupidest thing that I wish was left on the cutting room floor. Now, give me back some of the stuff that they made him leave on the floor because it was too violent. Which
you want to make a trade?
Totally now would totally work in 2024 because that's all people want. Hi, Terrifier 3 trailer released today. But like, the dude flying through space is the dumbest gimmick and dummest joke in this
like
whole
the Rocket Man.
I fucking hate it. I hate it.
I'm coming, motherfucker.
Yeah, yes. It makes me cringe.
I love it. Oh man.
My god!
I just chew on that
hand
cringe.
Embarrassment for everybody involved in that. Like, I just like.
Yeah, he was
perfect.
He was literally an action hero in the wrong movie. Yeah. Like, it was like, what if he
was Iron Man,
got
baby?
on the wrong set?
Why? Like, I felt so bad for that actor because like he seems delightful, but they had him doing the worst shit. Or like even the scene when he's like fighting with what's his face, Jurassic Park.
Where?
Sam Neill.
Yeah, Sam Neill. Where? Yeah, like he's right. Everything. It's just like I don't know. Like he just gets like the short end of the stick this whole movie. Whether it's just dumb dialogue, whether it's like cliche dialogue, whether it's that scene where you're just like, yeah, I don't know. He's completely right, and we're telling him to shut the fuck up. Like
exactly. And I love it. And it's several of the crew members do this, but it's literally somebody has this triggered past trauma. They see something that's horrible. They're trying to articulate it to a crew. They know that they don't exist. And then there's Ware in the corner rolling his eyes and going, well, that's not plausible. We're going to just have to bash your head in, aren't we? Because it's literally his answer to everything. Like, that couldn't happen. We know, Sheldon. Just listen to me.
He literally says, like, that's not how science works. Yeah, no fucking shit. Like,
exactly.
Okay.
That's the point.
That's why it's bizarre and people are freaking out. You and your dead wife who killed herself because you weren't around or whatever bullshit. Like,
yeah, and that's the most infuriating part is when he's asked, have you seen anything? He's like, no.
I'm not seeing my dead wife. Huh? No.
What are you talking about?
Exactly.
I'm not talking to her naked while she walks around with no eyes or whatever in my room.
That's just how I get down every night.
Why does he go from no eyes to eyes? Because the ship brings him back. Why does he go from he had no eyes at one point, then he has eyes again?
I think he's fully realized at that point. Kind of like
I like him better with no eyes.
Like Pinhead. Yeah, I did too.
Yeah, he's so much cooler. I mean, it's again the special effects. It's like whatever, but like I like him with no eyes. With eyes, he's less menacing. I don't know.
And it's definitely more hellish. You know, that have somebody's eyes.
Oh, of course. Yeah, that's what, like, he comes back kind of like silly. I don't want to say silly, but like
he's Pinhead back, pretty much.
Yeah, but to me, he feels more Cenobite before, and then he feels a little bit more 13 ghosty. And I think it's because he looks like the princess. Like he's got the slashes all over him.
Scars.
And she does it better because A, boobs, but B, like she's her and we know how I feel about her. But like, I don't know. I like him better with no eyes is what I'm trying to say.
Hard agree.
I was feeling a lot of 13 Ghost vibes in this one, for sure. I
know it came well later, but it's very 13 ghosty when like you're like, because it just is. It feels very.
Yeah. I have to imagine that his transformation is a big chunk. That's at least 10 minutes of the 30 minutes.
Yeah, that too, because it happens out of nowhere.
Yeah, he just immediately he goes from being
he's demon man,
cocky scientist to a
hellraiser.
Like after he blows it up, right? Like after he walks after he blows up and kills the guy, like that he basically comes back as.
Yeah, that's weird.
I think, like, right? I don't know. There's she takes it. She pushes into his eyes in there somewhere. I don't know. I don't know the order of events, even though I just watched this today. But the order of events.
It's sudden whenever it happens. He went full from that's not possible. That could never happen because science to let's all go to hell together.
Yeah. All your friends are rotting in hell. Thank you. Thank you, Pinhead.
Playing on it.
Sorry, John, what were you going to ask?
Oh, no, I got your answer for you. Gorman and Vasquez. You have Lieutenant Gorman, who is the blonde-haired crazy dude, and then you had Private Vasquez, the Latina.
Yep, the gun-toting brute who opened a lingerie shop in L.A., right? Isn't that what she does now?
I think something like, I remember seeing that in the... she always thought it was interesting. It's like she's like, I was Jewish, I was never Latin. But she was from New York. They cast her.
Yeah, it was the 80s. You had a look. You had a look.
Oh yeah, he just had to have a look in the 80s, even 90s. Just a look. A look is all you needed.
I mean, shoot, we had what's his face from
Ages
Hacker.
Didn't matter. Adults playing teenagers does not matter, which apparently is still going on because. No, but I mean like it's way less. We have a lot of like young actors right now. Like, let's be honest, like there's like a ton of them and they're popular and like whatever. But like I was watching, and I had this conversation with Eli after we recorded the last one, and there's no spoilers in this at all. But I saw Longlegs for those who haven't, and what's her face? Everybody's favorite is in it, like Kiernan Shipka, if I even said her name right. But like literally within this year, you do when I show you pictures.
Oh, if I saw her face, I probably recognize her.
Literally within this year, like I've seen Kiernan Shipka play a high school student and a full-blown adult in her 20s, which is what she really is. But in the same year, in two different movies. And I'm just like, so she's
pulled them both
doing
off,
that.
probably.
Yeah, she's still doing that whole... Yeah, she totally pulled off high school. She's literally, I looked her up, she's 25 or 26 or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're close enough in proximity. You can pull it off, but you just look way
Are you
too
at
old.
25?
Where you can still relate. I think you can still relate to kids.
Anyway, so I was just,
I can't
it's one of those that hit me during Longlegs that this girl, like, we're still kind of doing that when we have so much more like different age groups of people, like, I was just like, wow, she's still playing like every different.
Well, is it a good movie?
Is Longlegs a good movie?
Yeah, I've not heard anything about it.
No, not if you ask me, but we're not talking about that.
Yeah. I know that a lot of people have, it's overwrought either way. People have way overblown saying it's the scariest thing we've seen since.
Oh, it's it's an actual horror movie. Okay.
No, it's not. No, it's not. No.
From what I've heard, it's Silence of the Lambs.
Oh,
but it's not Silence of the Lambs. Yeah, think Silence of the Lambs, Seven, any kind of thriller like.
It's Silence of the Lambs with Nicolas Cage as Anthony Hopkins. That's all you need.
All right, I'm in. Sold.
Yeah, John will love it. The rest of us
I'm in.
But anyway,
as long as does he get Nick Cagey? If the answer is
yes, he does.
Okay, and we're in. Face Off just showed
excited about it, but
yeah. Hey, Dave. Face Off just showed in the mail today on all of its glory. Now we're talking. Yeah, that's like prime Cage.
I was going to say, do you have the Jeweler Case Collector's Edition or something?
No. We're not that crazy. Okay. We're not that crazy.
Anyway, Event Horizon.
It's a movie.
Yeah, I think we've said our piece about it. I'm glad that Jeff put it on the list because I don't know that I was going to get to it this year. Glad I checked this box for the next 2 or 3 years, but
for my watches. Yeah.
I'm glad we checked it. It is absolutely, and we've defended this before, it is absolutely in the genre or the vein of what the Wicked Wild does. I mean, it is an isolated horror movie. got some aspect of creature feature. It even has some, and I'll say this on Eli's behalf because he's not here to say it himself. It even has some of that sweet, sweet Lovecraft kind of mixed in there for our boy. So that's all I've got. There is no critter corner. Obviously, the critters in this were the people and the demons they turn into. So if you enjoyed the podcast, let us know. Give us a rating, give us a comment. The campfire tale following this up, as it happens, I've got the list up here so I know. Interesting. It's the Philadelphia experiment and the Montauk Project. So if you're into the conspiracy thing, this one's straight to the veins. It is all conspiracy.
And guess who has never seen it?
Oh, really?
Never seen
movie
it.
Philadelphia experiment.
Never seen it.
I think he's talking about the real.
He's talking about the real one. I know all about the real one. The real one's awesome. Movie, I've never seen it.
It's so weird.
It's crazy.
So if you like this show, we do ask you to subscribe, rate the show. That's really the only thing we need from you to keep us going. If you want to learn more about the podcast, the hosts, or the other things we've got going on here, like book reviews and other things like that, you can go to our website, thewickedwild.com. You can follow us on social media, X at Wicked Wild We Are, Slasher, the horror only community at Wicked Wild We Are there as well, Instagram at Wicked Wild Pod, and we're also on YouTube. So if you want to see our smiling faces and be one of the crew, just hang out with us, see our expressions as we do it. You can find us on YouTube. Just search the Wicked Wild Podcast. And that's all I've got, as I always do, and I have yet to get one. It's becoming depressing, but I'd love to get emails from anybody who has any feedback or ideas or concepts. We're going to be rolling out and presenting our Camp Wicked Wild theme in a few weeks. So you have that to look forward to as we come into the cooler season. And after the summer we've had, I think we're all ready. Just for things to slow down a little bit.
Fucking A.
Ease up.
Yep.
So, but you can send me that email, podcast@thewickedwild.com. That's all I've got. So, Jaime, you know how you make sure your spaceship isn't evil anymore after it returns? Just if you want to do the safety thing, you burn the hell out of it.
Oh shit!
Wait, what did you say? John was what?
I was trying to help him lead up, but I missed. We're gonna start that over. All right, do it again.
You messed up the punchline because I was distracted.
So you know how you make sure your spaceship isn't evil anymore after it returns mysteriously, right?
No.
You just got to burn the hell out of it. Boom! Got it on the second take. Second take.
Boom!
That's the keeper. Check the gate. We're out.